All right, hi guys, welcome to the Two Dogs Podcast. I'm Dr. Inky.
And I'm Dr. Ellie.
And welcome. So, how have you been?
I've been good. Been busy.
Good. Busy is good.
One thing that's good is that now that when everything is sort of like getting back to near normal, work gets busier lah.
Okay. So, like previously, most of us were in lockdown. Work was a little bit slow. Then now a lot of things started picking back up lah.
Yep.
Good.
How about you?
Again, things are a little bit busy these days, as you mentioned. It's work, personal life. We're going out, so timetable has been a bit hectic lately.
Yeah,
right?
in a way, I
kind of miss the
slower
whole
life.
Lockdown. Yeah. I kind of miss the lockdown because number one, all right, I stay home pretty often, and number two, there's no traffic on the road.
Traffic, right?
Currently, just now when I came over here, I was stuck in traffic for a while.
Yep.
And it actually got me frustrated because for a good easily half a year to 8 months, right, I was actually dealing with almost minimal traffic.
Correct.
And now I'm stuck in traffic. I'm like cursing the guy in front of me.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it really boils down to life as we forgot about it already. We got so used to that life.
It's been almost 500 plus days, close to 600 days.
Closer to 2 years.
Yeah, closer to 2 years.
All right. So March 18 was when MCO 1.0 was announced.
That's right.
So just imagine we're just about 4 months shy of that.
Now it's the end of October.
October. It's about 4 months shy of it. Yeah. So I think with this kind of schedule, when it changes, right, a lot of things happen. For me, for one, I would admit it gets more tiring now because of all this added stuff. Work is fine. I've got no complaints with work. But B, you're right. The extra traffic jam, the extra queue, now the extra social responsibilities that you need to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Meeting up with friends or with family. You're expected to spend more time with everyone. And I don't think that's bad. It's just that it does eat up into your regular schedule, especially since we've been quite used to being a little bit more, having more me time.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, previously had a bit more me time, now it's less already. And because of that, I think some people, especially, it doesn't matter if you're an extrovert or introvert, I think a lot of people would still would slowly, they will face a little bit what we call burnout.
Oh yeah. Tell me
face
about
a bit
it.
what we call burnout. Now I think burnout, it's actually very, I would say previously, before the MCO hit, I would say a lot of people talk about burnouts. Then during the MCO, again, it's a separate kind of burnout because a lot of people want to work but can't work.
Correct.
And as well as, there is also family burnout as well. So, again, let's talk about burnout in general, or what are the signs of burnout?
Okay, so since we're going to that, let's just give simple ones. So simple signs of burnout, of course, it will be tiredness.
Oh yeah.
Tiredness. You're just tired. You don't have that zest, that zing. It's different compared to being lazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Being lazy does not, the kind of tiredness that comes with lazy is a very relaxed one. Whereas the kind of burnout tiredness is that you are just exhausted.
Yeah, I can actually remember there was a point in time in my life, right, whereby I would wake up from bed in the morning and I would still feel tired. Yeah. It's like, I've slept like 8 to 10 hours, I'm still tired.
Correct.
And the worst part is I do not want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
I just want to sleep in. I just want to close curtains, switch off the lights, and just sleep for the entire day.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would relate to what we just said. You've been working.
Yes.
All right. So one of the signs when we talk about tiredness is like you've been working really hard, and then you say, okay, tomorrow is Sunday, I want to sleep in. In fact, I don't even want to go out on this Saturday night. I'm going to start sleeping at 11, which is unheard of. I sleep so early. Maybe Inky sleeps early, but
I actually sleep pretty early, but 11 plus I actually doze off already.
Yeah. Another one of my very good friends.
I need at least usually about 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day.
That's why he's an aesthetic doctor and I'm not.
I love I tell you, if I don't get 7 to 8 hours every day, right, I will get damn tired.
Yeah.
Right?
You get grumpy or not?
I will get grumpy in the morning. Right. I won't talk to anyone until I have my cup of coffee. But if I had enough sleep, when I wake up, I'll still be grumpy, but less grumpy. But I've had the experience whereby when I was burned out, I was so tired from work. Even though I slept 10 hours, right, I just felt like going back to sleep, and I didn't want to go to work. That's the thing. I didn't want to wake up to go to work, even though I like work. I like going out. I just didn't want. I want to shut myself in.
Correct. And that's just paradoxical. And that's on a work day. On a weekday, you just feel like when you wake up, I get a headache.
You get a headache.
I get a headache, and although I always say, it's because I sleep too much, so that's why I'm getting a headache. It's me trying to make excuse to comfort myself and comfort everyone around me. But in actual fact, I recognize it's a sign of burnout. When you sleep so much and when you wake up, you're still having a headache. It's because your body is so used to that drive. Suddenly you give yourself that rest. It's not used to it. You actually get this so-called compensatory headache. We didn't read up enough to explain why, but I'll tell you from my experience, oversleeping and wake up and having a headache is not the problem with the sleep. My wife's going to use this against me, but it's actually a burnout. It's a form of burnout because your body needs to rest, but you're not really listening to it. I'm not listening to it.
And another sign of burnout, right? And I think a lot of people have to recognize this, right? If someone takes medical leave or MC all the time.
Oh, yes.
All right. Now, sometimes right, we can. Sometimes when we see one of our colleagues or maybe one of your staff taking MC all the time, you just you summarize it as, this person just being lazy. This person lazy. He just want to snake, or you want curi tulang, and he's just going to MC. Actually, a lot of times, right, a good sign of burnout, right, is if the employee or the person used to be productive, but now keeps falling sick.
Correct. But keyword that Inky says is used to be productive. If they were never productive, then they're just a snake lah. Itu memang ular lah.
That one memang ular lah. But if the person was productive, maybe he was productive for a while, and then suddenly, you rarely see the person in the office. He's always on MC. There's always an excuse. There's always something like, I'm just not feeling well. I have fever. I am down with the flu and all. It's actually a sign of burnout, because one of the issues of burnout is when you're burned out, right, your immune system drops.
Correct.
And you actually fall sick. Or even sometimes if you don't really have that symptom of falling sick,
you feel sickly.
You feel sickly.
You just don't feel well.
You don't feel well.
You feel well.
You feel like you have a mild fever. You just feel tired, lethargic all the time.
Here's the challenge. And if there's any doctors listening to this, I put out this statement and a bit of a challenge. I admit, once upon a time when I was doing general, family medicine, running the GP or doing locum, there are people who come and take MC.
They are.
And they are chronic, habitual MC seekers.
It's the same faces lah, especially if you look at their record. MC again.
MC. So we always have this bad connotation. We always say, don't want to give, because you are a chronic MC seeker. But often, one of the signs that we always look for is we need to look for an illness. We need to look for your temperature, your flu, and that. As a doctor, I would say, even myself used to be guilty, but now much better, is that we don't look into their psyche.
True.
We don't ask.
True.
What brought you here? How's work? How's family? How's finances? You just have to ask that really probe into that really personal life. I'm sorry, but as a doctor, we're allowed to do that lah. But if we don't probe, right, and we're only looking for that temperature, the flu, something, and if we don't see it, we say, you are another snake. You are just another fella who wants to take MC. I'm not going to give it to you. That fella could actually be burnout.
Yeah, it's true. But I think one of the main issues is, if it's burnout from work, right, HR does not recognize burnout. Right? They want organic. They need a
diagnosis.
They need a diagnosis. They want something organic. Organic means that it's a disease.
Problem. They need to see the problem.
They need to see the problem.
Burnout is not a problem.
Yeah. So burnout is more of a mental issue.
Correct.
So for most HR, I would say for all HR, they don't recognize burnout as an issue. Of course, there are some companies or some countries, whereby they recognize burnout as an issue, and then they always tell the employees, if you feel tired, you feel burned out, just let us know. We give you a day off. But I think one of the another problem would be is insurance companies. Now, insurance companies also don't recognize burnout or most psychiatric issues as a claimable
medical claim. Yeah, it's not a medical claim.
Yeah, but burnout can actually affect your body system. And as you did mention, it can make you fall sickly and all. And over long term, right, it can actually cause hypertension.
Yes.
It can cause you to have diabetes because again your eating patterns will change.
Correct.
You force you to have diabetes, and if you're always under stress, right? It can actually affect your cardiovascular system, which is your heart. So in the long run, right, you are actually more prone to chronic diseases.
Correct.
If you're always under chronic burnout.
Correct. Burnout causes chronic inflammation.
Yes.
And the worst thing about inflammation is you can't see it.
You can't see it.
It's
The
not
early
on a
stages,
lab
you
report.
can't see it.
The early stage is not even in a lab report. In fact, even if it's in a lab report, when the doctor sees it, I'm sorry to all the doctors.
Yeah, they
but
just write it off.
we write it off. We just say, oh, yes, nothing
yes, a bit high,
cholesterol,
everything else is normal. Okay,
everything else is
it's okay.
normal. But there are subtle signs, very subtle signs, and a lot of it still comes from engagement.
Yeah.
When we see a person, we need to make a judgment call. Does he look stressed? Does she look tired? Do they look miserable?
Yep.
Again, these are not diagnoses. You can't put a diagnosis. Reason for not working today? Miserable. Doesn't work. But it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
So you're right. The other sign of burnout is actually falling sick easier because of your immune system being compromised. Now, another one that I want to talk about is loss of passion.
Oh, yeah.
And again, this happens with people who are, must be productive before that.
Yeah.
If they came in with no zest, it's not loss of passion. They never had anything.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. They were just there for a jolly good ride. But if someone in your company, and you know that they've always been good, at least 6 months has been good, no issue with them, and they are very fired up to do work, and suddenly they just lost everything. They're not focused. Productivity is low. They just don't feel like they are part of it anymore. It's another sign of burnout. And this one is a bit more unique because it may not just be a physical burnout.
Okay.
It can also be a mental burnout or emotional burnout.
Yeah, definitely.
That made you lost that passion.
Yeah. So if you lose your passion, right, you actually lose interest in a lot of things around you. Maybe even something as simple as a burnout from work, right, can actually affect your family life, can affect your personal life.
Yep.
Whereby probably you had some hobbies before that, then now you have no interest in acknowledging the hobby or doing whatever you like. You might ignore people around you, especially your family members, your
friends,
loved ones, your friends.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to talk to anyone, and even if you talk to them, so you don't look forward to talking to them anymore.
Yeah.
So when you lose the motivation from one aspect, sometimes you do lose motivation in all your different aspects as well.
Again, I think here we would like to also see, can we differentiate? How would we differentiate someone who is actually, let's say, an introvert versus one who has actually burnt out and lost interest?
Well, an introvert can be outgoing, right? However, an introvert basically, whenever they go out, right, they feel tired after that. They feel like, I need some me time to recharge.
Okay.
All right. But someone who's burned out, it was probably an extrovert or in between an extrovert and an introvert, but this just doesn't want to meet people. Introverts know that meeting people is good for them. So they would make an effort to go and meet people. They would make an effort to go and meet people, whether it's for a short period of time or a long period of time. Then after that, they'll go back to
recharge.
They would go back to their own personal setting and recharge.
Yep.
But someone who's burned out doesn't even want to come out and see anyone.
Correct.
Because
they have that little leeway to meet people. Now they just don't want to.
Now they just don't want to.
In fact, they don't even want to talk too much or engage with too many people, even people who are closest to them. They like to be more recluse. So again, that's another sign of being burnout. Now, other types of burnout that I think we just touched about, and now we're going to focus a little bit more. We've been talking a lot about the physical burnout. Physical burnout. Now, other things can burn you out are actually mental burnout.
Okay.
So things that, because we always feel that when people talk about burnout, it's like, it's got to be your strength.
Yeah.
Your strength. But one can be still very strong, going to work, but just not focused. Because mentally, they're just tired.
Yep.
There's too many stimulation. There's just too many problems. There's too many things that burdens you. So we need to recognize that this is another form of burnout. And if you are listening in and you are having some of these symptoms, please tell yourself that it's okay to actually recognize that you have a burnout. I think the biggest problem that people have, or even myself have, is that we don't recognize it as burnout.
Yeah, I think
We call it stress.
yeah, we just call it stress, and then stress is now like a badge of honor,
Yeah. The more you have, right? It's like you got more stars like a general in it,
Yeah, as even just now when both of us were talking, right? When we were asking one, how have you been doing? How's your week been? Oh, very busy, very busy.
Yeah.
So being busy and being stressed out, it's like, oh, you know what? It's like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? I have a
got
lot
work.
of things going in my life. I have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think recognizing burnout in yourself is very important, because you need to know when are you at your limit. When you're at your limit and say, you know what, I can't take it anymore.
Oh, that is true.
Right. I can't take it anymore, and I just need a break. I just need to stop. Whether your burnout, the cause is from either work, personal, finance, regardless. Right. You need to have the strength to tell other people, you know what, I've had enough. I need to think things through, or recharge, or go off somewhere just for a while.
Yep.
Whether it's a couple of hours, whether a couple of days, couple of weeks, it doesn't matter. But you need to recognize. However, I think one of the main issues with, I would say, most people, or maybe it's Asian, or maybe it doesn't matter, is you always think, but if I retreat, if I burn out and I move away, what will happen to the people around me? The people that need me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
What will happen to my work? And some people, especially women, mothers, would say, a lot of them are kids.
Correct.
And a lot of times burnouts can come from the kids itself.
Yeah.
A lot of mothers would know burnout can come from kids.
We'll come to that in a while.
But they would feel guilty of spending their own time repairing or healing themselves, and they just stay on.
I agree. I would admit that was me. That was me. That it reached a point. I know it's here. I'm drowning in my own work. I'm drowning in my own stress. I'm drowning in my own expectation.
Yeah.
It's actually the self-imposed expectation.
Because always that.
You always feel, or I always feel like as though, if I'm not there, who's going to do it?
Yes, true.
I micromanage. So if I don't do it, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
I worry that if I'm not there to oversee it, it's going to screw up.
It's going to screw up. Yeah, things will go wrong.
And chances are it's going to screw up, and then I will get upset.
Yeah.
But the fact is that it reached that point whereby I'm just suffocating. I think the way to describe is suffocation, drowning, under the water. You feel like it's hard to breathe. I get palpitation. Some people call it anxiety.
Oh yeah. A lot of people have it actually.
So it took me a while to recognize that is actually my body telling me, hey,
enough is enough.
Enough is enough before you drop, collapse.
before you collapse, yeah.
And I think in a fast-paced world, what you say is right. We are so worried that if we, on this fast track, it's like we worry that life is like an F1 track.
Yeah.
That if we took a pit stop, right, people is going to beat us.
People will just zoom
past you and take the championship.
Yeah.
Now, we live life on a fast track, but it's not an F1 track. That's it.
Yeah, true.
F1 is F1. It's a sport. Our life is not a game.
Yeah, definitely.
Our life is not a game.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You need to be able to manage it because it's on for the long haul. It's not 52 laps and finish,
Yeah. So you can't compare the life now and compare the life of your parents or your grandparents. Life was much slower back then. Now it's actually speeding up very quickly. Technology has taken over a lot of our stuff. Now we have, as you did mention just now, we are just overstimulated. We are bombarded with just so many things. There's just so many things to do, so much information around us, and it always seems like we don't have time.
Yes, we always feel like there's not enough.
There's not enough time.
It's never enough.
It's never enough time. So you end up spending a lot of your own time doing stuff, doing other stuff that makes other people happy, but does not make you happy.
Correct.
Right, and you end up worrying a lot. Right, and a lot of these times when you worry, you're worrying about things that you have no control over, and generally people get stressed out about stuff they have no control over.
Yes.
If you have control over certain decisions or certain actions, you are generally more relaxed.
Yes.
But when you have no control and someone else is control, or the universe is in control, that's when your stress level goes up. You get burned out much quicker.
So there's one quote that I always use, and Inky, I'll tell you very honestly, I've never confessed this to anyone, It was a nice little phrase, not little, it's a very long bloody phrase on the back of a bookmark. So it reads, God give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I can memorize that damn thing. You know why? Because that's one of the first few items I stole. I used to be a bit of a kleptomaniac. I steal stuff for fun, so
Well, at least it wasn't stealing for stealing to get high, or stealing
42
food,
million,
or stealing a lot of money, from.
But it will be done if I got caught.
Coffers,
but it will be done if I got caught with it,
But it's okay. It was stealing something, and then you were inspired.
But it inspired me. It inspired me, and truth be told, until today, when I do my transplant, before I start, I say that to myself every day, because I can control only my emotions. I cannot control my patient. I cannot control what's going to happen. And if I let my emotions run wild because it's not a good day, it will never be a good day. So coming back, when it comes to this burnout, right, the one thing you can do is actually control yourself.
I end of the day, right, a lot of people always feel that they're not in control, but actually the only person that has control of you is yourself. No one else has. Just that we have given the control to other people. We willingly gave our control to other people. Example, if you're working for someone, you willingly gave your control of your time, all right, your work hours, to your employer. If your employer says it's 9 to 5, it's 9 to 5. Your employer says do OT, then you do OT.
Correct.
You gave the control over them, and you did not challenge them when they ask you for more time.
Yes. Especially if they ask you for more time.
Especially if they ask for more time. But at the same time, being your own boss or being self-employed, you also gave your control of your time to either the staffs around you, to your clients, whereby a lot of people think, right, that when running your own business, you are in flexible time. No, it means you work longer hours and all the ungodly times, you work at midnight, your 2, 3 a.m.
Your weekends, your holidays.
You wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning just to read stuff. So, but you willingly gave control to someone else.
Correct.
Same thing as well. If you have kids, you willingly gave control of certain freedom to your kids. You gave your certain freedom to your spouse. But end of the day, right, you can always take it back. All right? And I think there's one thing that I actually told someone close to me. I told my wife, and I actually told my siblings as well when they were burned out. I said, end of the day, right, don't feel guilty. Taking back the control.
Yes.
And just telling them, you know what, I just need some time to myself. I need to think things through. I just need to relax. Just give me a while. All right? I can't tell you how long. Just give me a while. Because if you don't look after yourself, all right,
you can't look after anyone around you.
Yes,
correct.
You can't look after other people.
And the worst part is, guys, girls, when you're listening to this, we feel that when we do, we are looking after some people.
Yes.
But if you don't look after yourself, they can't look after you.
Exactly.
And the worst part is, you expect, but they don't know how to look after you. Because only you know what you love best, Inky.
So you need to look after yourself. Now, that is actually true in a lot of things, Example, right? When you go in an aeroplane, right, and they tell you the safety precautions, right? They always tell you, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, before putting on other people, before your child. Because if you do not look after yourself and you put on your child, if you faint, who's going to look after your child after that? Same thing as well. If you have to put on the life vest, put on yourself first before putting on any other people. So always remember to save yourself first, so that then once you are safe, you can then save someone else.
And that's not being selfish.
That's not being selfish.
Because if you save someone and you didn't save yourself, and they need you after that, you can't save them. That's worse. 2 life death.
2 life gone.
2 life gone instead of 1. You will feel guilty, but it's worse than having both gone. Then everyone will say, why you never save yourself?
Exactly.
That's life.
So don't feel guilty, all right? And a lot of people do feel guilty, all right? Whether it's work, whether it's personal, even
Family,
family and all, relationships. Even sometimes, right, I will tell you, finances, right? Sometimes people don't pay their loans and they feel like very stressed out. You know what? If you really can't pay your loan, call the bank up. Call the bank up. Tell the officer, you know what? I've been a good paymaster all the while.
Provided you're a good paymaster.
Yeah, provided you're a good paymaster. Right? If you always default, then cannot. You've been a good paymaster, you have your credit score, everything there, and you tell the bank, you know, this couple of months I'm going to have some issue.
Yes.
All right. Can you help me out? And trust me, the banks will help you because it is their money.
Yes.
It is their money on the line. And they do not want you to default.
Correct.
If you default, they actually lose more money. So, and then they have to go through a lot of paperwork. So they rather not do it. So they will actually help you restructure the loan payment at least for a short period of time. If you tell them, I need a couple of months, they'll restructure for that couple of months. Talk to them. And a lot of times, people are willing to help.
But you have to talk.
You have to talk.
So that is probably one of the best examples because we always feel that banks are non-negotiable. But you can talk to them.
You can talk to them.
You can talk to them. Again, this is something my mom always tell me because when I was younger, I always felt afraid to ask permission from my dad. Want to go out also, I don't dare to ask. Want to ask for a new whatever also don't dare to ask. Then she says, ask. What's the worst thing to happen? You don't get it.
You just say no lah.
You started with 0, you ask, you didn't get, you end with 0.
Exactly.
You won't go negative.
Exactly.
But if you ask and you got it, you're on a plus.
Exactly.
So with the banks, if you can ask the bank, you can ask anyone. Worst case scenario is the bank sum is 0. That's it.
Worst kind of worst, the bank say, you know what? Sorry, cannot do anything.
Okay, right. At least you try. Now look for something else to try. But if you don't try, you never get. I think what Michael Jordan said, you will miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly.
Speaking of time management just now and about burnout, a lot of people talk about time management, and they and this was written by one of my friends on LinkedIn, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So it says there is no such thing as time management.
Interesting.
We always talk about time management, right?
A lot of people talk about time management.
There's lots of courses. You pay money to have people teach you about time management. You cannot manage time.
Okay.
Because time is going to take away 60 minutes to an hour is 60 minutes to an hour, 24 hours to a day is 24 hours to a day. You don't manage time. You manage your schedule. Because the more you try to manage time and you fail, then you realize you're quite useless.
That is true.
And you will get even more stressed.
Actually, that is true.
That is true, right?
That is true.
I thought that simple statement was so powerful because all this while you're trying to manage something that is unmanageable.
True. Very, very
true.
You
are supposed to manage your schedule.
That's very nice.
When you manage your schedule, time is your ally. But if you try to manage time will always fight against you.
And time will always win, actually.
Time will always win. It's like trying to bet, Don't bet against the house. Don't bet against the house. Just don't bet at all.
The house always wins.
So coming back to coming out to burnout. So some of the symptoms of burning out, and I think we touched about some of them, but we will let me just summarize it in a way, because this is something that's very common. Anxiety is one of those very common symptoms of burnout. A lot of people try to take anxiety into a psychiatric illness. And again, it's a bit of a doctor's fault lah. I'm sorry. If we are heated, it's okay. Some doctors, when they get your symptoms of anxiety, what they do? They start putting your anti-anxiety
medication.
They put your medication. They give you something to relax yourself. They give you something to sleep. It helps you tonight, but tomorrow
so the cause of anxiety is still there. The root cause of anxiety
is still there. True anxiety, right? I think it's not as common as we think.
So I actually read this quote, which is very profound. And some people might agree, some people won't agree. So depression is worrying about the past. It's always thinking back what I did wrong. And then
you ruminate and you feel bad, you feel guilty.
Then you actually feel guilty. I should have done better. That's depression. Anxiety is worrying about the future. Right? It's worrying about what
going to happen,
things that are about to come. And most of the time, right, when you're anxious, you always worry about the worst things. It's always the worst case scenario. I'm scared. I'm scared of. I'm afraid certain things will happen if I do it. So what happens then? Anxiety is triggered. So, but end of the day, end of the day, you can manage your expectations. So again, I think what Dr. Ali mentioned just now was his expectations. Manage your expectations, and if you can manage your expectations, right, you can actually manage the anxiety. All right, and of course, some people say, "Oh, I'm a perfectionist," or "I aim high," but if you do that, if you critique everything about you and you micromanage and all, end of the day, right, you be just too much things to do, you will just burn yourself out.
Correct. So don't put yourself in a position whereby you allow yourself to burn out.
Yeah.
Now, our good friend Andreas.
Yeah.
So Andreas was running an online talk yesterday, and I managed to log in for a couple of minutes. So he was with another guest. They were talking about the language of genders.
Okay.
Male, female actually have different languages.
Yeah, of course.
When you talk about, let's say, how would you go about to define how much is enough, or what is success means to you, or how much work should you do to please a customer? Everyone's got different answers.
Yes.
But basically, when it sums up, in a very general form, between the male and the female, the male would always be a trial and error model.
Okay.
When something you don't know how to do, taro only lah, just try lah. Fail, we try again. Fail, don't do lah. Whereas if it's a lady or female, they would tend to want to do it better.
Yeah.
They got onto them the responsibility, the trust that they have to give their best, so they will prefer to be more perfectionist in what they do. Nothing wrong with both models. But it's just saying that while both models are sort of like gender bias, in our day-to-day life, we can also apply it. When it comes to things whereby it's going to project your image. Let's say you want to dress up to meet a very important client. Okay, then you have to be a bit more perfectionist in that sense. You don't go in with jeans and t-shirt and it's going to be a formal meeting. But if it's something that's going to be, try to do a proposal, it's okay to just do a try and error. Because again, the proposal, when you pitch for it, there'll be more than just you.
Yeah, of course.
There'll be more than just you.
Yeah, of course.
And everyone's got different strengths.
Yes.
So don't need to be a perfectionist to say, okay, I think this customer wants this out of me. I better do this, even though that's not your strength. But the pitch has to be perfect. No, you just trial and error on that side. But what you are, you do damn good at it and you present. Again, this helps you to avoid burnout.
Yeah.
Mainly because we all have different ways of processing, but we need to know what is the best way to merge different ways to do it. At the end of the day, again, a lot of it is expectation matching.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of times is your own expectations versus maybe someone else's expectation. Or I wouldn't say someone else's expectation. Or sometimes it's what you expect them to expect out of you.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So sometimes you expect, maybe let's say your boss, you expect your boss to have a high expectation of you. Then you burn yourself out.
Yes.
Yeah? Sometimes you expect to do certain things with your family, and I have no time, then you burn yourself out just because you're doing something that you don't like to do, right? Then you burn yourself out with your family or with anything else. So sometimes it's what you think other people expect out of you.
Yes. And that comes back to that whole trial and error versus perfectionist. Now, if you expect someone to expect things out of you, so you do your best to be, perfect for them, and suddenly they said,
actually,
that's not what I want,
That's not what I want, or I didn't expect this lah.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted something else.
Yeah.
You would kill yourself literally or figuratively because you were trying to aim for that perfectionist presentation, and it wasn't what your boss wanted because they had something else.
Yes.
So if you're thorough, right, and say, no, but we try and error, we bang first and let him comment.
Exactly.
After all, presentation to your boss is different from presentation to the client.
Yeah.
So when it comes to doing, again, when we've got listeners who are in the corporate world and you need to do staff presentation between your client and your boss. If it's the final presentation, yes, maybe you need to be perfect for the client. But if it's the initial presentation to your client, even to your boss, right? Taro only, never mind, whack. Then learn from what feedback they want, and then then go on. Of course, when I say taro or just bang, it doesn't mean you do the lousiest job possible.
You still need to know your stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
you do a decently good
you still need
job,
to
but
do your
don't
stuff.
worry so much if there's
don't
going to
worry
be
so much.
negative feedback. If the 90% of it was not what they want, at least you still got 10% correct. It wasn't a total waste.
No, end of the day, you can always learn. So I would say, end of the day, right? Burnout, you have to recognize your own.
Yes.
Right. Of course, people can recognize for you. Or people can say, you know what, you
look burnout. You look stressed.
You look tired. You look
Correct.
stressed. You know. And if they're good friends or their family or their boss, they can say sometimes they will uplift you and they say, you know what, just take a break.
Yeah.
All right. But even if they tell you to take a break, right? If you don't recognize it and you don't take a break,
No
end of
use.
the day, there's no point. So
Correct.
you have to recognize your own burnout. And going back, I would say don't feel guilty for just saying, you know what, I need some time alone.
Yes.
I would say that is the number one, because I've seen so many people, right? I've seen so many people, and they always say, I can't stop because too many things depend on it.
But sometimes I feel, right, in Asian culture, it's also the fault of employers.
I would say it's our
work culture.
Our culture in general. I would say even work culture. I would say culture in general, because right, we are a very patriarchal kind of society.
We need to please
We
someone
need to please
up there.
someone above.
Yeah.
All right, and that not only happens in work, you know, it happens in family as well. You know, family gatherings, right? Sometimes can be stressful for some people.
Correct.
Because right, when they get together, it's like, oh my God, I need to please my so and so. You know, I cannot say the wrong thing to so and so. So again, it's your own expectations. You know, it's your own particular expectation. It's not their they probably don't give two hoots about you.
Yeah.
But you expect them to expect something out of you.
Correct.
So I would say it's the way generally the Asian culture per se. And you know, some people say you know, one face or something like that.
Yeah. But again, I think people will notice we bang employers quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But it's okay because somebody needs to open their eyes, and if it's us, so be it. But this is one of the issues. If we always tell the staff, right, I need you here, Inky. Only you can get this job done. Now I've put pressure on you effectively.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might be my star performer, but I've also limited my company to grow, and I've put all the burden on you.
Yep.
You will burn out because now you will feel guilty to even ask me for half a day off.
Yeah, true.
You know, 1 day off, you feel guilty, and I'll just keep banging you. Cannot lah, Inky. You reschedule your family gathering lah, your holiday. Never mind lah, just change lah. Nowadays can refund one. Don't worry. It's stressful. Because now work is already on stress, then you pull the family in to sacrifice something for the work. So employers play a very major role if you don't recognize that they need certain time to unwind themselves.
Yeah, of course. Because end of the day, right, if you have a look at adulthood, right, most adults spend 8 to 10 hours a day at work.
Minimum.
At work or doing work. Which means, right, and if you take away that 6 to 8 hours of sleep, that means that more than half the day, right, more than 60% of their awake time, right, is focused at work. So that's why more than 60% of the main root cause of burnout is usually from work. Yeah,
generally from work.
Generally from work.
And of course, if you're a housewife, then looking after the household.
It's also work.
It's work.
It's also work.
So you have to know what is your job function.
Yeah.
Your job function doesn't mean you're getting paid for it, but your job function, your
it's
core function might be usually is the area that really burns you out. But you need to be able to speak it out, talk it out, and say what you need.
Yeah.
What you need. And a lot of you will be surprised. Taking out 30 minutes to even just 1 hour, which is very minimal in a full day, is enough for you to recharge. But it has to be awake time.
Yes.
Not sleep.
Yeah, not
awake time, recharge to do what you really want to do.
Yeah.
Whether it's reading a book, being alone, sitting there doing nothing, doing your bathtub, or going for a walk. Really, you find what suits you the best.
Yes.
But taking 30 to 60 minutes out of 24 hours, a lot of people say it's a lot, but I don't think that's really a lot.
It's not a lot. If you look at the grand scheme of things, right? If it's 1 hour a day, it's 1 hour out of 24. Okay, let's say you take away sleeping time, right? 18 hours. 1 hour of 18 hours. 1 hour 18 is actually very, very minimal.
It's very minimal.
I would say
you
most
eat more than
yeah,
that.
Yeah, you actually spend more time eating than that.
Some people spend more time shitting than that.
Yeah, exactly.
You sit there, you play your game, half an hour gone.
Maybe that can be someone's alone time.
There you go. There you go. All right. So anyway, we're going to wrap things up. But today we're talking about burnout, recognizing the signs of burnout, different types of burnout. And I think the core summary here is that you, above anyone else, should be the one who need to recognize that you are burnout, and you have to call for a timeout.
Yeah.
I don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, you are in control of your own life. No one else except you are in control of your own life. And what Dr. Ellie says is correct. Don't feel guilty to ask, right? Whether it's anything like whether you want to ask someone for some time off or ask someone to take over certain responsibilities for a short while or for a long
Ask
period
your
of time.
spouse to look after the kids for a while.
Yeah, it's no harm asking. End of the day, what's the worst that can happen? They just say no, and then you just have to continue the same thing that you're doing.
Try again. But you try again.
Yeah, you try again.
You try again. Because, again, you need to just state your case. You state your case. Again, if you as a spouse, I think let's touch a little bit about spouse. If as a spouse, right, let's say if you're a housewife and you've been looking after the kids and you really want to hang out with your friends, even worst case scenario, hanging out one night in a month.
Yeah.
It's technically very little.
Yeah, it's actually very little.
But I tell you, one night, that 4 hours or 5 hours out of one whole month of waking hour is enough to recharge you.
Yep.
For you to go talk about all your good old days, talk about your gossips, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But that's enough to recharge you and give you a reason to come back feeling fresh and recharged all over again.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's just that simple.
Yep.
So think about it. And for anyone where your spouse is asking you for that kind of time off, come on, just grant it them.
It's just that.
You bring the kid, you watch 2 movies on Netflix, 5 hours gone already.
Yeah, exactly.
Chill out. Get a pizza, Let the kids do whatever the hell they want.
Let the kids do whatever they want.
Yeah, you just monitor only.
Yes, exactly.
But you give someone that peace of mind of 5 to 6 hours off, and they'll come back happy. The whole family unit is happy all over again. And same goes for the employers. All right, so we're wrapping up this week on Burnout. I hope you guys had a good run with us this week, and we'll be back again next week on The Two Dogs.
Yeah, so have a great weekend, guys. I'm signing out. I'm Dr. Inky.
And I'm Dr. Ali.